Here we go. The epic adventure into lost brotherhood. Da, 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 da. All the lovers in the world. Yeah. That's Kenny Greer on guitar, and you know him, you know his sound right away, everything about his approach is from all the years of playing with Tom Cochrane and Red Ryder. This is a song that, this is the first time I put out a co-written song on a record, and it opens the Lost Brotherhood album. And All the Lovers in the World was maybe the fourth or fifth attempt that Eddie Schwartz and I had it at co-writing. And Eddie, of course, wrote Hit Me With Your Best Shot, so everyone knows who he is. And he had great experience with co-writing, and I wanted to kind of delve into it and learn what happens when you co-write with someone. How do the ideas bubble up? And our first 3 or 4 attempts were okay, you know, and I thought maybe this isn't for me. But Eddie was, no, let's keep at it, because something's beginning to emerge. And this is the song that finally, when we finished this one, we looked at each other and kind of went, well, what do you think? And Eddie said, that's a hit. And when he says that, it's usually a hit. So I had great confidence going into the recording of it. Unlike the rest of the record, funny enough, this one was played on by, the rest of the album was done with the rhythm section of Jerry Marotta and Tony Levin, who are probably best known as playing with Peter Gabriel. And of course, on the rest of the record, Alex Lifeson is the guitarist, and Kenny played on a good number of them. But Kenny is the only guitarist on this particular track, and we used a drummer named Greg Critchley, who wound up doing the tour with us. Eddie played bass, and I filled out all the rest of the keyboard stuff. And we did these, I remember these harmonies, this whole thing here. That's Eddie and myself getting that vocal stack together. So we really we became really simpatico, not just in the writing, but in the recording of it. And Eddie produced the song. Part of the reason is it sounded so good on the radio when it first came out is it was mixed by a fellow named Chris Lord-Alge. And if you Google his name, you'll see, you know, there's so many hits that this guy has mixed. I mean, Prince and Madonna and Elton John and Stevie Nicks, and he just, you know, it was amazing because when he came here to mix it, we did it at the Metalworks. He came out to mix it, and that's Kenny on the steel there. We were kicked out of the mixing room for 6 hours while he worked on it, and that turned out to be a good thing. That's why it sounds like this. The other great memory about this song is that we did the video at a place called Gage Park in Hamilton. And I remember there was this piece of sculpture called the Lover's Bench that was donated by this artist. Her name will come to me, of course, when we finish, but she donated it to the city of Toronto, and apparently people found it really offensive. It featured one person on the end of the bench sitting by themselves, kind of looking off into space, and on the other end was this couple who were engaged in, or making out, or whatever phrase they use nowadays. And people in Toronto found it kind of offensive, so I thought, okay, well, that's good. We'll do that like 1,000 times over. And Deborah Samuel directed a video where we had all these park benches with 3 people on the bench, and that sort of depicted the notion of all the lovers in the world.